Good afternoon, welcome back to China Economy and Society. In the last video we mentioned how the control of the migratory flow from the rural areas to the urban areas is one of the key successes of China economic development model. Today I want to talk to you about an example of how the whole system is interconnected with each other. Let's assume the government has a new policy, a new goal to make the Shanghai stock market an international stock market. Now, in order to achieve that, we need to first have internationalization of the renminbi. And for that to happen, China needs to decide to fully open its capital account. Opening the capital account, it's not like what we have today. Opening means 100% open. At any time, at any point in time, anyone can push a button and transfer in or out of China any unlimited amount of money. And this is not happening. If this happens, however, what's the next consequence? The next consequence is, just like my professor of economics, Rudy Dornbusch, used to say, the moment that any country opens up its capital account, the whole of its economy is in the hands of some young new graduate, 20, 25 years old, just like in the movie Wall Street, Gordon Gekko wearing these suspenders. This guy can push a button on his computer keyboard and basically put a country on its knees. Just to give you some figures, in one day, the total value of the four main currencies traded, the US dollar, Japanese yen, British pounds, and euro, amounts to 5 trillion US dollar. 3 times the GDP of Italy of 1 year changes hands in less than 24 hours. So this gives you an idea of the magnitude, of the size of the foreign exchange market. If this happens, of course, China imports and exports would be at the mercy of this young guy, at the mercy of Wall Street. So the Chinese government will lose control of how much to import and how much to export. And if this was to happen, there could be unemployment in the manufacturing sector, which employs migrants from the rural areas that come to the city. Now, with the job prospects not being as high as before, we could even witness a reduction of the rural to urban flow and even a return back to the countryside. Very similar to what happened in 2008 and 2009, when we had 25 million unemployed in this sector that were trying to go back home. Now, if the flow goes in the opposite direction from urban to rural, it would have an impact on urbanization. And that means a potential real estate crash. That means a banking crisis because we have a higher value of non-performing loans, bad debt, and this would create a systemic crisis. And at the end of the day, who would pay the bill? And you know the answer. Always, it's the average citizen that pays the bill. So what do we want to say in here? We want to say that this is the key variable. The country to urban-rural flow is the key of all these interconnected bubbles. And so something that looks completely unrelated, the internationalization of Shanghai stock market, depends on what? It depends on this flow of migrant. And the flow of migrant depends on the income disparity between rural and urban areas. And the income of a rural average citizen is basically based on the average price of 1 kilogram of rice. And so, half jokingly, half not, I say that the success of the internationalization of the Shanghai stock market depends on how the price of 1 kilogram of rice evolves over time, and if this change pushes or not the farmer to leave the land and go to the city. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much. See you next time.